What's going on, everybody? It's LuckyFin Gaming here, and today I'm going to make a reply video to Shad about why a dinosaur would kill a knight. Without further ado, let's go. Alright, everybody. Now, I want to make something clear right from the start, right from the get-go here. I am not trash-talking Shadiversity. I love Shad. I watch Shad's videos every day. I love his castle videos. I love his knight videos. He's the only reason that I know anything about knights, because usually I don't pay attention to the medieval period. I am more of a colonial period type person. But I love watching his videos, and his video on a knight versus a dinosaur was hilarious. I loved it. But at the same time, I feel like he didn't take it all that seriously, and he knows so much about knights. He is a knight expert, but he knows little to nothing about dinosaurs. So, with that being said, let's let the dinosaur expert, that being this guy, talk about the dinosaur side of things. Now, he made a lot of good points about knights. So what I have here is I've actually spawned in the flak armor, and I've put the manticore armor over it, mostly because I think this is fairly similar to what Shadiversity had in his video. Link in the description below to go find out his video on this topic. So you'll see that this is fairly similar. It's not perfect. Unfortunately, I am limited in what I can do on the video game. But the reason I chose video game is because we have my little helper here. This is Button. Now, Button is actually fairly important to me because when I first started playing this game, this was one of my first animals. Like, I have all the original animals that I got from the game. I cryopotted them all at one point and moved them to Ragnarok when I was planning to reset the island. Still planning on doing that. Haven't done it yet. But I have Button. Now, the reason I have Button here is because Mr. Shadiversity decided to compare a human knight directly to a Utah Raptor. Well, as we've discussed in the past in one of my other videos, this here is in fact a Utah Raptor. Now, it is a little big. We'll go ahead and go into third person. It's a little big to be a Utah Raptor, but only just slightly. It's a little too tall, but I would say as far as general size range, it is just about perfect. It's gonna fit our role very well. Now, as I said, Mr. Shadiversity, he did not take into account all the benefits of a dinosaur, especially not the Utah Raptor. So Miss Button here is going to help us out here. So one thing that we need to discuss right off the bat is, and we're going to go ahead and get rid of this dodo. We have, obviously, as always, a sacrificial dodo. I mean, it always happens, you know, gotta sacrifice the dodos. So one thing he talks about is when a raptor was coming up, it might try to bite. And how's it gonna bite? It's gonna bite, you know, but what he did not consider is that a raptor especially is not going to do that. What we have is a raptor that can do this. That's pouncing. Now, he himself admitted that if a dinosaur pounced, it would definitely whoops, I accidentally killed the dodo. Should have spawned it at level 1. If it pounced, it would put a knight on its back, and that would be very bad. Well, whoops, got a little lag there. Happens. Gonna go ahead and level up here. There we go. So a pounce would be extremely dangerous to a knight. Just ever so dangerous to a knight. And this is actually a fairly decent representation of what a dinosaur would look like. I'm going to go ahead and turn off my HUD here so that way we can get a good strong look at it. Go ahead and take off the saddle as well, just for the time being. Don't worry, Button, you'll get it back. So as we can see here, we have our raptor. And one of the most dangerous things about a raptor that he did not take into consideration at all isn't necessarily the teeth. It's these claws. These claws are extraordinarily dangerous. It wouldn't take much, especially with a pounce, like we discussed earlier, for it to find a weak spot in the armor and dig it in. Now, let's forgive my cat in the background. He's trapped in the room right now, and he's not appreciating it. I really don't care. It's actually not my cat. It's my wife's cat. But now let's look at the armor. Now, this is, like I said, this is as similar as it could get to Shad's armor. Now, Shad's armor had a weak spot. Right there. I can't see it right now, but there's a arrow pointing to where I'm talking about. An area where there's no armor in between the legs. Now, if a raptor, like the Utah Raptor here, pounced on me, guess where those claws are going to go? Right into the femoral artery. And guess what? You're going to die. You're going to die. There's, you know, that it's an extremely dangerous area. And then if you have any weak spots in the armor, these massive claws here, these claws, which we know all raptors had, it's one of the big things that makes the Dinosaur Raptor genus so dangerous. He also talks about very briefly about their short arms. Well, while that is a common stereotype of dinosaurs, it also doesn't match with the raptor genus, as you can see here. Though they are curved and everything, they're rather long. They're not short, tiny little T-Rex arms, which are almost, which, you know, there's talk of what they could have been used for. We're not really sure. But we can talk about dinosaur T-Rex arms another time. Today we're talking about raptor arms, and these raptor arms would be extraordinarily. Just look at these claws, and yes, again, you know, I mean, I'll probably go find some pictures of Utah Raptors later, and I'll include them in the video. But this is this is again very realistic. This isn't just a video game thing. This is like the real deal. So yeah, if there's any weak spots, you know, the raptors especially didn't just bite. You know, biting wouldn't be their main thing. They liked to slash. There are multiple fossils of their prey which were slashed and gashed by claws and stabbed by their little foot, for the foot claws. These things that's what it's going to do. It's going to, you know, jump on you. It's going to start slashing and trying to claw. And, you know, I mean, if you're just a regular human, humans are relatively weak. Even a knight would be relatively weak in comparison to something like a Utah Raptor. Utah Raptor was big. He picked a really bad animal to use. Honestly, Shad, you picked a really bad animal to use, because a Utah Raptor is huge. I mean, we're talking about something as big as a polar bear. And no knight, not even a knight, is going to stand up to a bear. And you're talking about that in dinosaur form. Dinosaurs are crazy. A dinosaur would definitely, a Utah Raptor would definitely just clap a knight. No doubt. A knight would not survive an encounter with a Utah Raptor. Button, if Button turned on me right now, there's no way I wouldn't survive. But unless of course I have my weapons. Now the armor, of course, is not going to do you. I mean, while the armor would probably help you survive a little longer, but if you're on your back, if the raptor pins you down, you're dead. No questions asked. You're gonna die. That is, unless of course I could see it coming, and then I could use a spear or any other long pole arm would definitely be what I want to use. I want to keep that dinosaur far, far away from me. Now, assuming I could penetrate through its scales, now I'm not actually going to hit button because I love button, but assuming I could penetrate through these scales here, as y'all can see, and get into its heart or into its stomach, or even into the throat here, then maybe, maybe this could be a survivable encounter. But that's also assuming that, sorry, had to shove him off my chair. He decided to jump on my chair. Anyway, that's assuming, I could gash it enough that it would actually die. But that would take a lot of strength. I mean, this thing, like I said, it's huge. Now, unfortunately, we don't know how scales and everything worked back then, how tough a dinosaur scales were. We have some fossilized evidence, but we don't know how thick it was in adults. We have some fossilized scales from Triceratops, I believe, but that's a baby. We don't know how thick it was in adulthood. So there's a lot of open variables here. But overall, if it was a Utah Raptor, a knight would die. No doubt, a knight would most likely die, especially considering the predatory instincts. Now, he talks a lot about Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, how they behave there. The thing is an animal would not behave that way. That's another thing we have to talk about is nature. Animals naturally, they're not going to behave that way. It's going to come up behind you. It's going to, it's not going to come out front. If you see it coming and you're doing this, it's probably going to wait for another period. In fact, there are stories of people in India, I believe, who wear masks. India and China who wear masks on the back of their heads that look like faces, so that way the tigers always think that something's looking at them. If a dinosaur saw and it thought you saw it already, it's probably not going to charge. So a knight would have to combat with the fact that a raptor would not attack it front face. Now, if the knight knew it was coming, maybe it would have a chance. But in most situations, a knight is probably not going to know that it's coming, and the raptor will jump on its back or whatnot. So we're talking about a Utah Raptor specifically. Now, if it was something smaller, like maybe a Deinonychus in real life is about the same size as a Troodon in this game. A knight would probably win. I have little doubt that a knight would most likely win, because a Deinonychus would just be too small. It would be too little. I doubt it would be able to get past the armor. It wouldn't have it's unlikely that it would have the strength to pin down an adult man, a knight. It's unlikely. To which case, Shad suggests that if it had you on its back, then you could pull out a dagger and stick it. With a Deinonychus, that's likely the case. But with a Utah Raptor, no. It's like getting mauled by a giant bear. It's just not going to happen. I know of no stories of knights who were able to successfully slay a bear. Now, I may be wrong, but I know that modern day firearms have problems taking down bears, so it's unlikely that a knight would be able to do so, at least not without the assistance of cavalry or archery. But in this particular situation, we're not talking about cavalry or archery. We're talking about hand-to-hand, as God intended, combat. And when it comes to that, the hilariously weak human is going to get absolutely demolished by a Utah Raptor. Armor or no armor, there's just very little chance. So again, I want to say that this is not me trash talking Shadiversity. This is me just replying to his video and saying, giving my opinion on the topic. Would a knight be able to defeat a Utah Raptor? It's extraordinarily unlikely. It's unlikely that a Utah Raptor, that a knight could defeat anything as large as a Utah Raptor. Anything in the smaller raptor categories, Velociraptor, Troodon, which I don't know if a Troodon is actually in the raptor category. I think it's been declared that it was a very early version of the raptor, but not exactly a raptor in and of itself. But you know, Velociraptor, Deinonychus, which definitely was in the raptor, which definitely is in the raptor genus. A knight could probably defeat those. Microraptors, obvious statement is obvious. But a Utah Raptor, no, it's not beating a Utah Raptor. So anyway, guys, that's really all I have for you. I just wanted to make this short reply to Shadiversity's video. Again, love you, Shad. If you ever see this video, love your videos. I thought that video was extremely funny. But I'm the one who knows dinosaurs, and I'm telling you there's very little. Given the information you gave me, I'm giving you back the information that it's extraordinarily unlikely that a raptor would lose to a knight in this capacity. So all that being said, guys, that's all I have for you today. I will see you all in another time and dimension, whenever or wherever that may be. Till then, peace out.